Good evening, everybody. How are we this evening? I know I am putting a spanner in the works by being here on Thursday instead of Wednesday this week. But I was actually flying back from the Channel Islands yesterday. I've been in Guernsey for 10 days, which was really lovely, just a lovely break, and seeing my other half, who I hadn't seen for a couple of years, and meeting all his friends on the island. So it was lovely. It was lovely. I did take my laptop with me and I got a little bit of work done, but I didn't do a great deal. So I was flying back yesterday evening in the wind and the fog and the rain and the turbulence. But here I am now. So if you are here, we've got some people on. Hooray. If you are here, do say hello. Do pop a little comment or a wave or an emoji or something in there so that I know that you're watching. And do ask questions at any point. If you've got any questions, just ask them. No problem at all. I don't mind answering questions at all. Yes, if you are new to me, I am Annie Bennett, and I run Annie Bennett Business. Hello, Jeanette. Hello, my lovely. Nice to have you here. Hello, Victoria. I am very well, thank you. Yes, I am very well. I hope you are too. I run Annie Bennett Business, and part of that is the Home Baking Business Community UK. That's the big Facebook group. I've also got my lovely society of members, the Home Baking Professional Society, which is open for new members. So if you are looking to get some extra training and support, then you'll find the sign-up details on my website, which is, let me give you that. There we go. It's very easy, anniebennett.co.uk. It's easy, isn't it? It's easy. And you'll find all my training and all sorts. Hello. Oh, who's that saying that you can finally get to see me live? Because I can't see your name, but that's lovely that you finally get to see me live. The live Annie. Yes, and I'm also on my Facebook page, so some of you might be coming to me from there. So yes, so how are we all? Are we all right? Are we all keeping on going? I know a lot of you had a very busy weekend, didn't you? Valentine's weekend. I know some of you were really, really busy over the weekend. I don't do Valentine's stuff. I just really do wedding cakes now, and my next one is until the end of March. So I've been doing lots of businessy things, setting up training courses. I've got my wedding cake business course coming up this weekend. It's not too late to sign up. Details again on my website. You'll find them there. Hello. Oh, I hope you're well too. So if you have been busy with your Valentine's things, I hope you're having a bit of a rest now, taking a little bit of a break from it. Because it's always refreshing, isn't it? Oh God, these are filthy. I can't see a thing when I put them on. Yes, I hope you're taking a break, because it is good to have a bit of a break and a refresh, isn't it? I found that being away for however many days it was, 10, 11 days, but I've come back and I'm like, right, let's really get down to it now. So it does make a difference. Oh, that's better. I can see now. So this evening we are talking about, it's a bit of a mindset evening this evening, and we're going to be talking about what to do when your confidence takes a dip. We're in sort of the middle of February now, and I dare say that perhaps a lot of you started the new year with, right, we're going to get going and we're going to really, kick this into touch, and we're going to, and it may be that now, sort of 6 weeks, 7 weeks in, things are perhaps beginning to even out, or you've lost a bit of energy or something like that, or some things have gone wrong, and your confidence is having a little bit of a dip. So I am going to give you 5 pointers, not 5, 5 pointers as to what you can do. Some of them are things that you will have heard me say before, if you followed me and you've seen my lives, because they're things that I talk about all the time. But yeah, running a business is, I think the dealing with the dip and dealing with that dip in confidence is one of the most tricky things to deal with, because it sometimes feels like a brick wall, doesn't it? You know, that feeling where you have a sort of lurch in your stomach and you go a little bit shaky and you don't know what to do and you don't want to open your messages in case there's something there, all those kind of things. And you feel that everyone else is doing brilliantly and you're not, and you're last in the race. That's a horrible feeling, isn't it? I was having a look today at some statistics and found out that it's generally considered that businesses in their first year, 20% of them fail in their first year. So it's 1 in 5 businesses don't last longer than a year. And 60% of businesses don't last longer than 3 years. Those are quite some statistics. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I think a lot of new businesses, possibly there's an element of giving up too easily, of taking everything that's gone wrong and just perhaps giving in, just letting the bad things win, if you like. So let's have a think about some of the things that you can do and some of the ways that you can think to help you get back on track when things aren't going so good. Okay. So of my 5 things, and I'm reading my notes here because there's, as usual, as I've done for most weeks, there's a blog. The link will come up in the Home Baking Business community at about 8 o'clock. But everything I'm saying tonight, I'm reading from my notes. So if you're a reader rather than a listener, it'll be there for you. So 5 tips. Number one, know why you run your business. Why do you have a business? Okay. I've talked about this before. I've talked about the why. In fact, I think when we did my challenge last year, the end of last year, some of you took part in, I think one of the things there was, what's your why? Why do you run your business? For some, it's just as simple as I need more income. I need more income. That's why I run a business. But it might be more than that. Of course, it might be, to show my children that anything's possible. It might be, my why is more, I don't want to be employed. I want to be my own boss. Okay. I want to get up every morning and really look forward to what I do. Because I've had a job that I didn't enjoy, and the feeling and the thought of going back to that is like, no, that's not going to happen. So that's my why. So think what your why is, and when things are going wrong, or when you're having a dip in confidence, think about that why and think, well, I've got to keep going. I've got to keep going because of my why. Okay. And this word that I'm always talking about, determination. If you are determined to fulfill your why, if you like, then you will be able to get over anything. Okay. The most determined people are the most successful people, because they look at barriers, or they look at walls, or they look at obstacles, and they think, right, how am I going to get around this? And they find a way. Okay. So think about your why. That's the first one. Now, the second one I'm always banging on about. I'd be surprised if you haven't heard me talk about this or seen me write about this. Believe that mistakes and failures are learning opportunities. Okay. When things go wrong, which they're bound to, when we start up new businesses, when we start anything new, when anyone starts anything new, there's going to be mistakes. It's part of the deal. Babies, when they learn to walk, they fall over. They don't say, oh gosh, I'm not bothering with that then, do they? They keep going. They keep going. So think about the mistakes and failures. Something goes wrong. Yes, you can be cross about it, because that's how it makes you feel. Or you can be, embarrassed, or whatever it is you feel that, allow yourself to feel that for a short while, but then think, right, that's enough. I'm now going to think what I can learn from that. Okay. And really analyze what's gone wrong and think, okay, why did it go wrong? What can I put in place next time? What will I do differently next time? How will I react next time? And if necessary, write it all down. Keep a book, if you like, if it helps. And just squeeze all the learning that you possibly can out of it. Okay. And once you've done that, you've made as much use of it as you can. Put it on the shelf. Forget about it. It's now history. Okay. Don't keep going back to it and think, oh God, I wish I hadn't. Oh no, I wish I hadn't done that. Oh no, awful. Once you've taken all your learning out of it, you know, it's like a balloon having no air left in it. Just get rid of it, park it. Okay. I will tell you at the end a story where I've learned something over the last month or so, but I'll tell you that in a minute when we get to the 5th point. So number 2, believe that mistakes and failures are learning opportunities. Okay. Number 3 is know your worth and know that your products, what you are selling, are of a high standard. Okay. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not sure that they are of a high standard, then find out. And I don't necessarily mean by just posting in the group and saying, is this good enough? You have got to do your own sort of research, if you like. Look at pictures, look at websites, look at what other people are posting. Does your product compare to those? If not, why? You know, is your, I don't know, everyone does drips, don't they? Is your drip perhaps not as sharp or not as good as that one? Why? You know, are your sugar paste edges not as sharp as that picture there? Whatever it is you think is not quite good enough with what you do, learn how to do it better. It's a tough thing to say, really, because, you know, we all want to tell everyone how wonderful everybody is, and we'll come on to that in a second. Hi, Verity. Hello, love. But just wallowing in the, oh, I'm no good at this, isn't going to get you anywhere. Okay. It's no good to keep wallowing and saying you're no good. Find out what it is you want to improve and improve it. Learn how to get it better. Either pay for some training or search on YouTube or ask in the group. You know, look at what other people are doing to make your things better. Okay. Because you've got to end up with what I call an independent confidence. You have got to be able to look at what you produce and think, yeah, that's of a good standard. And you've got to be confident of that. Okay. There's no good relying on your friends and family to tell you that you're wonderful all the time if you don't believe it yourself. Okay. Because if you just believe in your friends and family telling you that you're good, you've equally then got to believe anything that's said bad about you. You know, it's all or nothing. You either believe what people say about you or you don't. So if you have your own inner confidence, yes, that is of a good standard. I believe that I've done really well there. Then if someone does say something about it, you can say, actually, I don't agree with you. Yeah. Thank you for the feedback, but I don't agree with you. I think what I've done is, you know, and again, I'll give you an example of this later on, of something I found out about this later on. So yes, it is nice to have, you know, friends and family, and you put something in the group and everyone goes, oh, that's lovely. That's really nice. But if you just rely on that for your self-esteem, you are laying yourself open to be really vulnerable. You have got to know what you are producing is good. You have got to have that confidence. And you can get that confidence by learning and practicing and doing it, and learning new techniques and all that kind of stuff. You got to put the work in. But then if you're passionate about what you do, that's easy, isn't it? Yeah. If you love doing what you do, it doesn't feel like work. okay, because you love soaking up all the knowledge and you learn everything new. So that's, yeah. So that's number 3. Know your worth. Have that confidence that what you do is good. And if you think it isn't that good, then make it good. Yeah. Number 4 of my 5 points. Number 4, sort of touched on this a little bit already. And a couple of weeks ago, I did a live on competitors, didn't I? Comparing. But my 4th point is only compare yourself to yourself. Only compare you to you. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Okay. It's an easy trap to fall into, but it's a dangerous one because you don't necessarily know the background of who you are comparing yourself to. You might be comparing yourself to someone who's been in business 15, 20 years and you've only just started. That's not a fair comparison, is it? You might be comparing themselves to someone who works full time and you only, you've got a full-time job and you only work once a week. That's not a fair comparison. Okay. You're much better off comparing yourself, giving yourself sort of milestones, looking back and saying, have I improved since then? So look 3 months ago, look 6 months ago, look 12 months ago. Okay. And this is where setting goals is really important, because if you set your own goals that you're going to get things done, that you're going to sell so many, you're going to get so many customers or so many followers, if you set those goals, then you can then track your improvement and you can say, yeah, brilliant. I got, 50 sales last month and I'd set my goal for 40. So I'm doing really well. So you're comparing yourself to yourself. Okay. If you don't have goals, it's a really good idea to get them, to find some, what do I want to achieve, next month? I did at the beginning of the year, I did some strategy talks about how to look at the whole year and decide how many, what your sales are going to be in every month. So have a look back at those if you haven't thought about that, because it really makes a difference. If you have something to aim for, it makes life a lot easier, and it makes, you comparing yourself to you a lot easier. Okay. But yeah, just comparing yourself to all the bakers in your area and, people that you see on Instagram that have got 100 million followers or whatever. It's pointless. Be inspired by people. Obviously that's not just plagiarize and copy, word for word exactly what they do, but be inspired. Look at everything that's out there similar to what you do. So, if you're a brownie maker, look at all the brownie makers. Look at the, the high-end brownie makers that are, I don't know, in London and Paris or whatever. See what they do. Look at websites. Look at all sorts of things, and just be inspired, because the more you do that, the more your brain will go, oh yeah, what about that? Oh yeah, perhaps I could do that. And you will be inspired to create your own things. Okay, because I really believe that running a successful business is all to do with that, about being, unique to you and being creative. And again, I talked about that before, didn't I, in the competitors, when I talked about competitors. Do your own thing and do it well. You can be inspired by others, do your research, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you've got to be doing your thing. Okay. Yeah, and compare. So I look back at when I first started my business, and I look at some of the sugar roses that I made, and I think, oh gosh, they're awful. At the time, I was really pleased with them because they look like a rose and so on and so forth. But I can see now how I've improved, because I've learned how to, the right sugar paste and wires and dusts and all those kind of things. And I'm confident that the standard of my sugar flowers now is high. I can stand alone. you know, with my confidence and say, yes, I know what I'm doing. And if anyone says to me, oh, that's rubbish, I'll say, well, I don't agree. Well, why do you say that? You know, not that they have done, luckily, but do you get my drift? Do you get my drift? And the fifth point that I'm going to make, and I'm going to tell you a story which sort of covers a lot of what I've already said. The fifth point is be informed. Make sure you've got all the details and you've got all the information before you make an assumption, before you decide that you are, you know, you've made a mistake or whatever it is. Let me tell you a story. A couple of weeks ago, I had a message from a bride. Now, this bride had actually paid a deposit for her wedding cake, and I'd sent her a taster box because she wanted to choose the sample for her cake, you know, the flavour. So I sent her a box, and I'd done a batch. I'd done, I think, 3 or 4 batches and sent them out. And I got a message from her saying, oh, thanks for the box. This is sort of the tone that it was written in. Thanks for the box. Yeah, we like the lemon and the chocolate, but they were very dry. In fact, they weren't moist at all. And I looked at this, and my first thought was that, you know, that heart sinking and that little churny tummy thing that you get. I thought, oh, okay. Right. So now there was 2 ways I could have gone here, as you can probably guess. One way would have been, oh, my cakes are awful, I'll never bake again. But the second thing I could have done, which in fact was what I did do, was, hang on a minute, my cakes aren't dry. I've not had complaints from anybody else. In fact, the other taster boxes that I sent out, they've gone on to book. So what's going on here? Why were those tasters so inedible? Thought there's got to be a reason behind this. And I asked a few more questions, and it turned out that they had received, I'd sent the taster boxes out on the Thursday, and she had not received hers till the Wednesday after. I'd sent them first class mail. Everyone else that I'd sent them to got them on the Friday, the morning after. Hers didn't arrive till the following Wednesday. Now, of course, once I'd realised that, I explained to her, I said, oh, my goodness me, I sent them on the Thursday. It's taken 6 days to, of course, they're going to be dry and a bit horrible. I'll resend. Don't worry, I'll resend. I'll get you another batch. And her reply was sort of, oh, I'm so relieved. I think she obviously thought that she'd booked and paid a deposit on this wedding cake that was just going to be like sawdust. But once I'd explained, something had obviously gone wrong with the Royal Mail, she was like, oh gosh, no, don't worry. Just, if you could resend, that'd be great. And we'll go from there. So had I not had that confidence in what I did, and asked more questions about, what was going on, I'd still be here, having lost a customer, thinking, oh my God, my bakes are dreadful. They're really dry, and gone into a bit of a meltdown. So my 5th point is be informed, get your information, find out if there's a mistake or something's gone wrong, find out, what might have gone wrong. It might have been an issue. Something might have gone wrong that I could have done something about, as it was putting something in Royal Mail that sort of taken out of my hands slightly, but I'm still responsible for it getting there. So of course I'll send you another batch, no problem. So it just goes to show that we can't always assume that we know what's going on, and we can't always assume that we know what the other, what the customer is thinking. We have so many people post in the group, I sent this quote out and they haven't replied. I think I'm too expensive. Have I priced it right? Well, your price being not what the customer expected might be one of 100 reasons as to why they haven't taken your quote. Where businesses, it may be that they've asked 5 different businesses for the same thing. I always, I never complain if couples say to me, "Oh, we're getting a few quotes." Brilliant. That's exactly what you should do. You've got to get the price that's right for you. So, if they're getting 3, 4, 5 quotes from different people, they're not always going to come back to you, and they don't always come back to me either. They might find someone who's more local. They might find someone who's actually, a friend of somebody, or they might find someone who's a specialist in the kind of cake they want to have made. There's all sorts of reasons. So don't ever assume that you know what the customer is thinking. And just a footnote, don't ever, ever, ever reduce your price because a customer says you are too expensive. Don't you dare. I'll come and get you if you do that. If you price your goods and you stick to those prices, if the customer says you're too expensive, you say, "I'm terribly sorry. Perhaps I could recommend someone else for you, or go somewhere else." Yeah, you wouldn't say go somewhere else then, because that's a bit rude. But someone once said to me, and I've mentioned this before a couple of times, the fact that we're not selling, we're helping them to buy. If you make that slight distinction, when you're talking to prospective customers, be helpful. Help them to buy what they need. And if they think that you can't give them exactly what they want this time, they're likely to come back to you next time. In fact, someone did. I've just remembered. I had a request for a wedding cake quote last year, actually. Someone, wanting a 3-tiered, whatever it was, for a wedding in a couple of months, whenever it was. And I gave my quote. And I got a message back. Yeah, my other half, we got a quote from an organic baker, and my other half wants that, so we're going with them. Fine, fair enough. Can't argue with that. So I was very, good luck with it all. Hope it all goes well, kind of thing. And in fact, a couple of weeks ago, they messaged me again for a birthday cake. So it just goes to show that you might not be what they're looking for this time, but you might well be next time. Anyway, that's sort of by the by. So we've talked about 5 things this evening, or 5 points. When you're dealing with a confidence dip, first of all, remember why you have your business. Why did you start your business? Okay. If it's to make money, then blooming well be determined to make money. Okay. If it's to prove something to somebody or to be a role model to somebody, then do that. Okay. Secondly, believe that mistakes and failures are learning opportunities. Soak up as much learning as you possibly can from everything that you do. And the things that go wrong have got so much more. They're a treasure of learning. And a treasure of growth. You learn far more from what goes wrong than you do than what goes right. Because if something goes right, you don't analyze it and you don't think about it. You just sort of carry on with it, don't you? But if something goes wrong, you go, right, what did I do? What shall I do next time? So that's the second one. Thirdly, know your worth. Have that independent confidence. Know that what you do is of a really good standard, so that you can stand tall and say, actually, this is what I do and it is good. Fourthly, only compare yourself to you. Look at how far you've come. Look at the goals. Look at what you've achieved 3, 6, 12 months before. And that will give you confidence that actually what you're doing is really good. Yeah. I mean, if you look back 12 months and you find that you're doing exactly the same as you were 12 months ago, and you can't see an improvement, to me, that would be, oh, hang on a minute. I need to do something about this because I want to be improving the whole time. Okay. So think about that sort of upward curve. Am I doing things to improve all the time? And then number 5, be informed, get all the facts. Okay. Don't go into into the doldrums over something that you might not needed to have gone into the doldrums over. Did that make sense? Yes, I think you know what I mean. There might be cross wires. There might be, information that you haven't got that will, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, that's fine. So there we are. So that's your 5 things. I hope that's been helpful. These are all things that I've learned along the way with, and you can apply them to all sorts of things, not just your business, but you can apply them to all sorts of things. You know, that having that independent confidence that you do what you do and you do it well. And learning from mistakes. Anything you do, with anything, relationships, anything, you'll make mistakes and you'll have disasters, but learn from them. Soak up that learning and use it to improve and to get yourself back on track again. Anywho, oh look, that's exactly half an hour. Fabulous timing from me. I'm off now to see my daughter, who has just arrived home, and I haven't seen her for nearly 2 weeks, so I'm going to go and reacquaint myself with her. But I hope you found that useful. Do let me know in the comments if any of that resounds with you. Resonates, that's the word I was looking for. Resonates with you. And if you want to share anything in the group on this subject, then please do. All information and all experience is welcomed. So I will see you again next week. Now, next week we're back to Wednesday. See, I'm going to think that tonight's Wednesday now, and I'm going to get very confused because tomorrow's Friday, and it's. But next week I'm going to do a demo. Oh, thank you, Victoria. Thank you. Next week I'm going to do a sugar flowers demo. What I might do during the week is put something into the group, so you can choose what it is you want me to do. Because I could do a couple of things, but I'll see what it is you want me to do, and I'll do that. So a little demo for you next week. All right. So have a good week. Have a good weekend. And I will see you next week. All right. Toodaloo, everybody.